details destroy businesses, and you need to know your numbers better than anyone else. Someone asked, why don't we box each other?
Why don't we have our sessions together?
We do enough together.
Yeah.
We do so much together. How long have we been together for?
12 years.
12 years.
All together.
I mean, you were involved in my first business, but we are like 50-50 in this business, in the real estate business. And today we're talking about operations because we've learned money is in the operations. When I first started investing in real estate, I kind of bought, I guess, the pie in the sky dream. I loved it. I was passionate about it. I wanted to build a business around it, but I kind of bought like, oh, you just go get a third-party manager and you put them in place and you pay them 8%. They're going to take care of everything the way it should be taken care of. Not the case, right?
Not the case.
And we're not here today to bash on third-party management, but we've learned the money is made in the operations. And we will be discussing today some of the key things we have learned to increase our operations to make real estate more profitable so you can go out and do the same. So I guess, Andrea, let me ask you this. If someone was going to self-manage their properties, what's this is a loaded question, but like, what's a word of advice or what? They're like, hey, I'm thinking about self-managing. What are some things they need to consider before self-managing real estate?
I think it's just more how much time is going to be involved, because you always want to make sure that you're going to the properties, no matter what, that you're spending time at the properties, or if you don't have that time, building a relationship with your contractor, even a tenant that's been there a long time, to have eyes on the property.
So people are asking like, hey, Tony, why are you guys selling property? Well, we're selling property that's far in proximity from us. We're selling the furthest properties. One's like an hour and a half away. It's hard. It's hard to manage that property because we don't have eyes on the property. The 56 unit we're closing on Monday, today's Thursday is filming this, we're 20 minutes from down the road.
Right.
It just, even if a contractor's there, you can go meet the contractor there, like timeless. Right. Versus an hour and a half away, you have to plan a whole day to be out there. I think people don't understand, you invest into real estate because it's a real hard asset. You can see it, you can smell it, you can touch it, you can check in on it, you can see how it's performing, you can go see it in person. And when you're not able to do that because it's so far away, you kind of lose an advantage of it. Would you agree with that?
I agree, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the unexpected expenses that occur with owning and operating real estate. These were expenses that were occurring that we didn't really know about when we were using third-party management. We just weren't ever seeing the profit off of it. And how important is it to have capital reserves? So just kind of talk about what just happened recently that you've been super excited to deal with.
Very excited. Yeah, so I mean, we've had a couple of issues that popped up just from the age of the building, previous owners not taking care of it, previous managers not taking care of it. So we've had some issues with water. We've had a really rainy season. We've had a lot of water issues coming in. We're not sure where it's coming in right now, so we're trying to figure that out. But that's just the importance of being at the property, taking care of the property, being proactive instead of reactive.
Without cash reserves, you're not able to really handle the property. We were even talking to our lender today. Remember, she said what's really important for them now is they want to see working capital reserves.
Right.
Because potentially we're coming into a recession, whatever. But she's like, more and more now, we want to see if an unexpected expense occurs, you are able to cover it. Because the challenge with smaller properties, so the one you're alluding to is a 12 unit. A 12 unit can only generate so much income, right? And that's why too, we're so focused on scaling up, because if a 12 unit has a $10,000 water expense, it might take months to recoup that.
Right.
And that's if everyone's paying on time and all that. So talk about that a little bit. As I look at our delinquency report sometimes, I know sometimes people pay late or people, have refunded checks. You've found a creative way of how they can actually be advantageous to us, extra fees and whatever. So can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we do have a late fee, obviously. So if a tenant is 1 day late, we do a 1 day late fee. After that, we do start the eviction process. We send a 7-day notice. But on top of that, we also notice that some tenants will pay, and then just as a bounce check, they pay online, so their funds will be reversed. So there's also a fee. We've added in a fee for that because it is a lot of time on our end that you see a payment go through, then it's reversed 3 days later. It's the same process as a late fee. So they avoided the first late fee by paying, and then it was reversed. So then we added a fee onto that of a reverse payment.
But these are the systems and these are the protocols that help people realize, like, okay, number one, I'm dealing with professional management here.
Right.
Number two, hey, I have to pay on time. Like, dude, if I don't pay my mortgage on time, there's a late fee, but then they start repossessing your property, right? Like, you don't pay that car note on time, they come and hook that puppy puppy up and rip it out. I think this is where a lot of people get burned out on property management because they don't treat it like a business. Like the former owner we bought from on that property, remember his tenants would text him and stuff and be like, hey, I'm paying late. You'd be like, hey, okay. The problem with that is what you resist will persist, right? So what you resist kind of putting in place, or you resist saying like, hey, you can't just pay whenever you want, it will continue to happen. So not only are those fees NOI boosters, so people ask, because we've floated some of our properties out there, like your guys' income is really high because we build back everything that we're able to. And if you're listening, it's like, well, oh, that's not fair. Dude, don't go pay your cell phone bill. Watch what happens. Or have a return check on your cell phone bill. Watch what happens. Every contractor you ever work with has a fee, right? Verizon Wireless says if you use a credit card, there's a 4% fee. So I'm like, Andrew, why are we paying Verizon Wireless out of our debit card? Everything goes through the business credit card. So we build, business credit. We get the points. Dave Ramsey says you can't get rich off points, but you know what you can buy? A lot of free Starbucks off points, Dave Ramsey. But why is Verizon Wireless? Verizon Wireless is a $1 billion company. Fees for using a credit card because they don't want to have to pay that. So you get what I'm saying? In your property management business, I think the biggest mistake we did when we first bought real estate, we didn't treat it like a business.
No.
Whether you own one unit or now we own 131 units, you have to treat it like a business. And we are building out the systems, the protocols, and the procedures to help us scale to 1,000 units. So important, dude. If you have one unit, treat it like a business that owns 1,000 units. Would you agree?
We use Buildium, so it makes it really easy to do all this. Everything can be in that system. So I'm not each time charging the tenant the fee. It's automatic. I just put it in there that's the fee that needs to be charged on a certain date. So it's a system. It's not just I have to go in there and do it each time.
How could you manage? We'll own 8 apartment buildings now. And we still have 4 single family houses. Could you manage this without a property management software? And you said Buildium is what we use.
Right.
How could you manage it without that?
It would be really, really inefficient. You could, but I don't know how you would track all of it. So this has everything in there you need.
How much should we pay monthly for it?
So it varies a little bit based on, again, if tenants can use a credit card to pay, which again, there's fees for that. So there's fees from Buildium and there's fees that we charge as well for using a credit card. But I think our plan is $200 a month.
It's no brainer.
Yeah.
No brainer to manage 100, soon to be 131 units. It's a no brainer. So here's another big concern that comes up, Andrea, is what if tenants just don't pay? So like tenant just doesn't pay, goes radio silence, which has happened to us, right? Can you kind of walk through and it's state by state and we're not giving legal advice. So go consult with a lawyer or whatever, but just walk through what happens and what the process is.
They don't pay. So we allow for 1 day, we do the late fee. Then after that, we send a 7-day notice. So the 7-day notice says you either need to pay or leave. If not, then the eviction's filed. So you file it with whatever court that's in. So we're going through one right now. Then you go through one hearing. The first hearing was a Zoom call. So pretty simple. Just sit on the Zoom, see if they attend. If they don't attend, then you just go on to the next hearing, fill out another form with the court. And then once that's filled out, they have their chance to pay or they'll be served to leave.
Not really that scary.
No.
I think it was a lot more nerve-wracking for us before we went. I think a big concern with us was self-managing is what are we going to do with evictions? Remember, it's like, do we need an eviction lawyer?
Right.
You can literally do everything yourself without a lawyer.
Yeah, and when I was on the Zoom call, so there's certain days that the courts do it. I mean, it was probably 10 landlords. I mean, there weren't many lawyers themselves on those days. So
you even made a good point. You're like, it'd almost be more work. So you'd have to
it
communicate.
Was. Yeah, because we did use a lawyer, but for the first one we did, it was more work because they kept asking, do you have this form? Do you have this lease? Instead of just, I went through the checklist myself of what we needed.
Pretty straightforward. Where did that checklist come from?
From the court.
From the court.
Yeah.
So the court literally shows you what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Really not that scary. I mean, no matter what, an eviction's not fun, but there's pros and cons to every investment vehicle, right? With crypto, there's the con of people can hack your blockchain wallet. Crypto can be devalued. There's no real intrinsic value to it right now. With stock market, there's the con of it can shift overnight. You're not in control of the investment vehicle. There's no leverage on it, right? You can't go to Bank of America and say, hey, I want to borrow $100,000 to go buy Bank of America stock. You can go to Bank of America and say, I want to borrow $100,000 to go buy a $200,000 duplex, right? So there's leverage. And with real estate, you're dealing with real people. Real estate is easy. People are hard, right? So there's cons to that. So that's why you just have to understand your investment vehicle. So you're a real estate agent. Do you need to be a real estate agent to own rental properties and to self-manage rental properties? Does it help or not really?
I mean, I think it would help just as depending what type of agent you are, if you're part of a team, if you're part of a brokerage, like a larger brokerage that's teaching you along the way. But no, you don't necessarily have to. One of my clients, she does everything herself. So they have 4 duplexes. She's managed everything herself. And I actually just talked to her today and she said everything's going great. So
here's something else, because you do all the financials too. And as we grow and scale our company, I think something in both my businesses, the things I never give up is the financials. We obviously have a CPA. Details destroy businesses. And you need to know your numbers better than anyone else, right? That's how I was able to build and scale my first company so much, is like, we always looked at the numbers. Every Sunday we do what? We have a meeting at Starbucks and we look at, I recommend this a lot for married couples, just in general, right? Just like literally have a Sunday meeting. We meet, we look at our week ahead, what's going on. Dogs have to go here. We have to do this, whatever, right? But we also look through our business finances and our business plan and our business goals. And we review and we discuss it. Hey, we have this expense, or hey, we have this thing going on, or hey, we have this business trip coming up. And it helps us stay organized. Now, something that we've started to discover with these value add plays is year one's about a break even, right? About a break even. But again, it's okay because we're forcing the valuation up. We're going back and we know our business plans to do a cash out refinance, and we know we're going to hold it for a long period of time and view it as investment. But and we talked about this, but what are your thoughts about these people who are like, I want to buy one property and quit my job? From an operational standpoint, maybe they only have $5,000, $10,000 in the bank after they close on their property. Would you recommend that, or there's some things to consider?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, just because back to our first point of cash reserves, you always need that large amount of cash reserves, no matter if it's a small single family home. I mean, there's a roof, water heater, AC unit, all those are expensive. So you're not going to get that in a year. And then also, if you're counting to live off of that income that you're getting from the tenants, it's not going to go very well.
Because then you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
So we've talked about, we're like, well, what would someone do if they didn't have the money?
Right.
They either don't fix it or they don't pay their bills. It's real estate is too capital intensive to try to quit your job on a few properties. Like we said, we feel long-term, 30 years from now, we'll be able to live off of our investments. But also too, we are looking at what properties have a lot of reoccurring maintenance expenses, and then we're trading out of those, right? That's part of why we've sold off certain things in our portfolio. So it's also about, I think, taking at the very least a monthly look at your investments and seeing those expenses. What was the problem with third-party management? We couldn't really see a clear delineation. We would see expenses on there, but we didn't know what they were going to.
Right. It would just say plumber, or it would just say the company's name. But that kind of brings me back to like the bigger issues that we're incurring is with the third-party management. If somebody's like, we got the maintenance request this morning, there's water in the hallway, right? So who would they have sent out there to fix that? Could have just dried up and they say, oh, I don't think there's a problem. So I think it's now that we're seeing that there's a bigger issue going on, then we can go ahead, fix that problem the right way, right? We can send in who we want to send in, fix it the right way, and then we should be okay. But that all goes back to, if you quit your job right away in the beginning, we can now put that money into the property, and then we're set. We fixed it from the root instead of just putting a Band-Aid on it.
You've probably saved us from heading up operations tens of thousands in vacancy and maintenance. Fair to say.
Yeah.
We let go our third-party management April this year. We took over April. So I'm so excited for 2024, just to have a full clean year. But we got hurt the most in vacancy. Properties would sit, not get ready, not be filled. I mean, you're filling units. And so when people too are like, well, are people still able to afford rent? We have one of the highest priced units in the city that you just filled yesterday. How many showings did you have, and how many people applied and you took somebody?
So I had 5 and I had 2 applications.
And
so
filled.
yeah, and they were both very qualified.
Within one day. So I think too, with bigger management companies, they can't put as much attention on individual units. And that's what we noticed, because we were like, that's another thing. We're like, how are we going to fill these units? I mean, she fills them immediately. Let me ask you this as we're wrapping up here. First off, guys, do you like this style of content? I think something that we're trying to be very transparent about is this is us. Like, this is our life. Like, our life and our business is intermingled in our marriage. And, it's kind of like we're together in marriage and life and in business, moving moving on the same trajectory, and we try to share our insights and share lessons we've learned to help you accomplish. And again, this isn't some big boardroom. We're not some big company. It's a husband and wife duo. So if you enjoy this content, let me know. Leave a comment below. If you have questions about things we're talking about here, let us know. Leave a comment below. As we're wrapping up here, Andrea. So one thing I did want to ask too, Andrea, because a lot of people want to start investing and they go to get a real estate agent. Not all real estate agents are created equal when it comes to investment properties. And this is why people have hired you. And as we're getting ready to launch our own brokerage here, we'll be able to specialize with investment properties. How important is it to have a real estate agent who either, I would say, has to own investment property to really understand how to critically review and analyze rental property? Like, not all real estate agents who have never owned or operated investment properties should sell. I don't want to say that they shouldn't sell an investment property, but until you've owned and operated, you can't give a fair perspective on it. Is that fair to say?
I would say so, right? Because I think it would be asking your clients why do they want that property? What are they looking for? Like my client that I work with, why did you want to buy 5 properties in a year, right? Like what was your goal of that? Because if they just want to acquire, and what type of properties? So I think that kind of leads towards kind of like what we got into. We started with single family and trade up. So the conversation we had today is, she's good with buying right now, but in 2024 wants to start trading up to something bigger.
I think if your agent owns rental property, that's the type of agent you want to go help you with invest. Because too, like you said, they'll ask, is this a good investment? If someone doesn't own any rental property, they'll be like, oh, it's a great investment. I saw someone's Instagram today. They're like, this is a great investment property. Look at the beautiful pond behind me. It's like, what the fuck does a pond have to do with an investment? How is that going to make me more money? If anything, you know what I thought of? Liability, mosquitoes that you're going to have to exterminate. The kid ran in the pond and freaking now they want to see, like, you know what I mean, guys? It's not a primary residence. It's an income producing property. So they need to be able to tell you why it's a good investment. If they don't own investment property, they probably can't offer the fair perspective. It's like asking an insurance agent, do you sell insurance? Of course they do. But there's different types: life insurance, medical insurance, business insurance. So understand that not every real estate agent is created equal. Wrapping up here, someone wants to start self-managing. What are some questions they should ask themselves to know if they're ready to handle the responsibility and the role of managing rental properties?
I think just the time that they want to put into it, because it is time. And I would highly, highly suggest, I know some people say to like start bigger and with a bigger property, but just starting smaller and with like a single family, a duplex, so that they get a taste of what it's like. And kind of like we discussed earlier, making sure you put everything in place before you get started. So you don't have tenants texting you at all hours and calling you at all hours. I know Evan just purchased an agent that we've been working with a little bit, a duplex, and he has 1 duplex and uses Buildium. I mean, it is a cost, but it already sets the tone of, hey, you're not going to email me, you're not going to text me. It's a system that's put in place. So I think that's something that I would highly recommend.
See, that's why I like Evan too. So Evan is a local real estate agent that he's actually helped sell some of our properties. He actually bought one of my duplexes. So again, the cycle of it, right? I sold a duplex to buy something bigger. That's his first property is a duplex. But he did exactly what I just told you to do, you listening or watching this. He's treating it like a 1,000-unit business. Like you said, he didn't say, well, it's a duplex, only cash flow is 300, so I'm not going to have that expense. He's saying, I'm building a business here. I don't want them texting me. I don't want them emailing me. I don't want to have to, type up late fees or whatever. He's treating it like a business. Run it like a business. A business has systems, protocols, and operations, right? In our first business, what we would always have SOPs, standards of practice, right? Hey, this happens. Here's what to do. Hey, we're running a mastermind event. Here's what to do. The vendor, the chairs, the videography, the food, whatever, right? SOPs. What's SOPs in your rental business? If it's like someone pays late, what do you do? And you're like, right? How you do anything is how you'll do everything, right? So if you're careless in your operations of your business, your profit's going to be careless. To even go on a bigger rant, if you're careless in your health and fitness, your business is going to be sloppy. Soft, weak body, soft, weak business. It's totally correlated. How you do anything is how you do everything. Any last insights or things you'd like to include?
I think we covered a lot.
All right, guys. So if you enjoyed this episode, again, kind of like a deep dive into our business, how we do our operations, even a little bit of our work-life business marriage dynamic, I guess. The biggest thing I would appreciate is you leave a comment below. You make sure you smash that thumbs up button, okay? Share this with some of you and your partner thinking about investing in real estate. It's kind of like a joint husband-wife venture. Share that with them. I have some free gifts for you, okay? A couple things. Number one, I wrote a book, New Rules to Financial Freedom, how I built my first business and built the profit up in there. Started investing in real estate. It sells for $19 on Amazon. You can get it absolutely free by clicking the link in the description. Also have my real estate masterclass, ran a live event, flew people out. We did it in California. They paid to be there to learn about how to build wealth with real estate. The digital download is yours for free so you can learn from the comfort of your own home. So click the link below. Also too, if you're like, man, I love what you guys are doing. If you're in the Michigan area and you need a real estate agent, reach out to us. We'd love to represent you and help you. And if you're like, dude, I love what you guys are doing. I want to get in on one of these big apartment deals. I have capital to invest. I just don't have the time, energy, or resources to go out and do it on my own. Fill out the invest with us form, and potentially you and I and some other people can partner on a bigger apartment deal. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I appreciate you. Until next time, we'll talk soon. Thanks.